About 2 months ago, I gave the Peak UP30 3.0 Elite a try. It didn't suit my stride or mechanics. Did break in at around 70 kilometers. The foam softened and the plate felt less harsh, but even then it lacked turnover and still felt stiff, quite slappy, and had that awkward stiffness. As I approached 100 kilometers, the ride still felt awkward and slappy. I had to change my form too much just to make it work. Some shoes where I've had to tweak my form didn't really require much to make them work. I kept hoping it would improve past 100 kilometers, but eventually I gave up on it. I've had shoes that needed more time to break in, like the old Adidas Light Strike foams, the Puma Deviate Nitro 2, or my current Asics S4 Plus Yogiri. Those shoes take time to break in, but they feel good early on, even right out of the box. The 3.0 Elite didn't, it just stayed stiff, plus it was also uncomfortable. The stiff upper was poking my sides when it folds, and that was a deal breaker for me, so I moved on. Then just recently, while scrolling through my shopping app, I saw the UP30 4.0, not the Elite version, just the standard one. It looked different, maybe even better geometry-wise, so I ordered it. First run I did was a workout, started with a 3-kilometer warm-up, then 10 by 300 meters at 10K pace with 30-second jogs after, followed by 300 meters at marathon pace and a 2-minute rest before looping back to the 10K pace. I wrapped it up with a 3-kilometer cooldown, so that was around 15 kilometers in total. The second run, which I did earlier, had the same 3-kilometer warm-up and cooldowns, but with 5 by 1.2 kilometers at marathon pace with some rest jogs in between. And now I'm ready to share my thoughts. By the way, my views here are from those 2 runs only, so this shoe might change over time or break in. Anyway, let's begin. From the product images, the design of the new 4.0 series looks much improved, especially the Elite version, which has a redesigned plate and more pronounced rocker. It reminded me a bit of the New Balance SC Trainer V3 or even the Elite P4, at least in terms of geometry. Unfortunately, the Peak UP30 4.0 Elite wasn't available yet. In the app I used, only the regular version was available and just in one color, this colorway. Other sites had better colorways, but they were a lot more expensive, like $170. I got mine for around 3,200 pesos, or just about $57 on sale. That's cheap, but still slightly pricier than the 3.0 Elite. So the question is this better? After a few runs, yeah, I can say it's better. By how much better? Let's just say I'm impressed, especially at this price. It performs like it should cost more than its suggested retail price. Where the 3.0 Elite struggled with turnover, this one does really well. The specs I found say it weighs 238 grams. It has a stack height of 34 millimeters in the heel and 28 millimeters in the forefoot, so it has a 6 millimeter drop. Measurements were based on a reference size, which I'm not sure was based on a US men's size 8 or size 9. These numbers are without the insole though. If you add the insole, it's around 39 millimeters in the heel and 33 millimeters in the forefoot. I read that from a Chinese reviewer, which confirmed this. Some brands include the insole in their stack height, but looks like Peak doesn't. About that 6 millimeter drop, it doesn't feel like a full 6 millimeters though. Maybe because the heel compresses a bit when standing. In my size here, usually I'm a US 10, but I have a 9.5 here. It weighs 257 grams. I measured roughly around 45 millimeters in the heel and 39 in the forefoot. That was with the insole. Without it, just minus 4 to 5 millimeters. The Peak UP30 4.0 uses a carbon nylon plate, not full carbon. It's just a carbon infused composite. It's a good balance of rigidity with flexibility, similar to the plate of the Deviate Nitro 2. The Elite version with a full-faced carbon plate will likely be stiffer and more propulsive. The plate here is a spoon shaped with cutouts, especially a large hole in the heel, and on the front the plate doesn't run all the way to the tip, which makes it more forgiving, better suited for daily training and probably race day. It also has wings at the midfoot. It's there to provide lateral stability. Fit-wise, this version has a seemingly wider toe box. We'll get to that shortly. It does have more room at the top of your toes. Midfoot narrows a bit but isn't tight. The base is also wider now by 12 centimeters in the forefoot at the reference size, which is quite broad. The heel is around 8 centimeters, not quite wide but still stable due to the winged plate here. Also, the sidewalls around the heel and midfoot help keep your foot in place. You're not perched on top of a shoe like on a platform, but you're more into the shoe thanks to the sidewalls. So this might look quite high stack, but it's really just the sidewalls. I think your heel starts around here and your forefoot is right around below here. Sizing wise, I would suggest going half a size down, same as the previous 3.0, but now the lateral side tapers quite a bit early, which might be an issue if you have wide feet or have high outer toes. You can go true to size if you're worried about that. I went a half size down, and while it's not cramped, it does start to hit my outer toes. It might look wider now, but most of the extra width is on the medial side. On my pair, I've got almost a thumb's width between the space of my big toe and the inner sidewall. If your foot shape fits this last really well, especially if it's straighter, then going half size down is a no-brainer. But if you're like me and your foot angles a bit outward, or if you have slightly wider feet, it's probably safer to stick to your true size since the shoe already runs about a half size big. Now to the upper, it's the same as before, airy and light. This time I actually like it because now it doesn't cause any discomfort in the areas that I felt before. Now there's no folding and no poking in those areas. Still, it could be better with a softer mesh, I believe. The heel collar has decent padding. It sits higher in the ankle area, but it's not stiff, so no discomfort during foot flexion. The tongue, on the other hand, lacks padding. It's really quite thin. It's also large and offers very good coverage. If you tighten your laces too much, you could get some lace bite. The serrated laces will help with lockdown once dialed in. They're pretty easy to loosen for entry and taking off your shoe. If you don't lace them properly, they will loosen as you run. You might get heel slippage, which would cause some rubbing due to the higher heel collar. It's what happened to me. I left the forefoot a bit loose, and throughout the run it adjusted and somehow was a bit looser here in this area, and I got some minor heel slipping while I was running. As for the outsole, you'll see cutouts and some rubber placed in the high wear areas. It thins out in the midfoot and comes back thicker in the heel. These cutouts reduce weight and improve flexibility, which is helpful since the rubber layer is thick and durable. I'm not exactly sure what foam they're using here. It doesn't feel like the old previous supercritical EVA. This one's noticeably softer, maybe the same compound but just a tweaked version compared to the last version, which had a full-length outsole that added to the stiffness. This one feels less bottom heavy and it's actually more flexible, especially with a more forgiving plate. Since we're talking about the midsole, let's start here around the heel. The heel rocker starts a bit early around the center where the ball of your heel is. It's not causing any instability. When you lean back, there's that falling back sensation, but not so much compared to more aggressive designs. Moving to the forefoot, the rocker is more pronounced compared to the 3.0 Elite, which barely had any toe spring. That's one reason why it lacked turnover. Now the 4.0 and 4.0 Elite have a more pronounced upward curve, or that toe spring in the forefoot. This better toe spring actually helps create more of a seamless toe off, and combined with the rocker shape, it really improves the turnover. In my experience, like when standing around, the heel compresses slightly, and since the plate doesn't run full length, plus you have that large hole in the plate, it stays flexible underfoot. So while the rocker does give you that falling forward sensation when you lean, it disappears once you start running. When running, the ride is actually smooth. It's not aggressively propulsive. It's responsive and just controlled. It's not overly soft either, just soft enough to feel stable and still balanced. I actually like that, especially for long runs and steady paces. Squishier foams tend to feel inconsistent over time. This one just feels soft but resilient, making it a more consistent ride throughout. Despite the stack height, there's still some ground feel, probably due to the outsole cutouts and slightly softer foam. It's nice because it's cushioned, but you're still aware of the surface. With its soft but resilient foam, I think this is actually a solid choice for heavier runners. It's soft but doesn't really go all the way down. I feel like you can get cushioning that lasts long, especially in your long runs, without going flat early. I'll have to do more runs in this though and see how this goes. I actually plan to use this for my long runs with marathon paced blocks, kind of like how I used the Anta C202 HP. Both these shoes were built for those steady, moderate paced long runs. Compared to the Anta C202 HP, this is a bit softer and less stiff. The HP had a smoother roll, while this one is still smooth but actually feels more natural. In this one, you won't feel drained like with the overly soft or max cushion shoes. This one's responsive with a bit smooth and steady ride and just enough foam compression to keep things controlled, not mushy or doesn't bottom out. Because the ride is consistent, I think this is pretty much how it's going to feel. There might be a bit of softening and slight mellowing over time, but there's not much of a break-in period, I think. Maybe it's just how it is from the start, but we'll see. As for pace versatility at 4:40 to 5:40 or even 6 minutes per kilometer, it felt great and stable. It felt cushioned and not as clunky. At easy paces at around 7 to 8 minutes per kilometer, it still held up well. It does promote you to mid-foot strike with a forefoot bias, even on easy paces because of that low drop, I think. Once I dipped below 4:30 minutes per kilometer, I started to feel a bit of heft. Nothing too heavy like the Anta C202 HP when you really push the pace. It's still light and nimble enough for some up-tempo work, but really not that streamlined. If you've never had more streamlined shoes or don't plan to, and you only plan to just get one shoe, I think this will just do fine. But for all-out efforts, or you're looking for a dedicated fast workout shoe to pair with an easy day shoe you may already have, those featherweight shoes or race-oriented shoes will still be a better option than this one. Sounds a bit confusing, saying it's fine, but then there are better shoes for max efforts. It's because this one handles the occasional tempo or fast block well, but it's not a pure speed shoe. This is an up-tempo shoe with some versatility, and because of that versatility, going fast to easy aerobic stuff, somewhere there's going to be a trade-off. It's fast enough at slightly above moderate, but not very hard, intense efforts. I'm just saying it will do fine if you only need one shoe, because by all means, you can run on any shoe however you want. I'm just saying you can do better if you really want something dedicated. I do have a verdict, not quite a final verdict since it's still pretty early on. I guess all I can say is I recommend this for marathon training. It does nail the fundamentals of stability, durability, responsiveness, and just enough versatility. So to conclude, it's not ideal for race day. It's not perfect for as a dedicated fast workhorse, but it's great for the bulk of your training. On long runs, steady mileage, daily training, great for long runs with a bit of variety when you sprinkle in some up-tempo efforts mid-run or at the end. Also, those long runs with progression, it gives you the extra push without beating up your legs. Again, it's still too early, so it's not a highly recommended yet, but I think I'll reserve better judgment after I get more runs in this, like past 150 to 200 kilometers. I'll just see if it mellows out or what happens to this. I don't know yet what certain point or the duration of the long run where this might flatten out. We'll see as I do more runs in this. Slightly more expensive than the Anta C202 HP, but I think this performs better. Honestly, it could go head-to-head with some higher end tier shoes like my A6 S4 Plus Yugiri. I'm still deciding which shoes to use for my longer sessions, especially with progression. The S4 Plus or the UP30 4.0, they don't feel the same. One is a bit more firmer, smoother rolling, while this one feels a bit more natural. Both serve the same use cases for me, and yeah, it's a toss-up. For now, I'll keep using this though for some those up-tempo workouts just to see how it goes. Eventually, I'll post a long-term review, so watch out for that. That's all for now. Keep running, stay fit, and always be kind.